So
Uh,
that
you,
could be interesting.
you're saying you're a creative director or whatever the term is, content strategist?
Yeah, I'm a creative director. I build
Awesome,
content
man.
strategies for founders. So
Awesome, man. Love it. Love it.
yeah.
Yes. So you're in my you're in the position that I definitely striving for. So I'd love to hear how it is, the realities of it, because I look at it through a very idealized lens. So I'm
Mm,
happy to hear the realities of it. But Avi, I have the stream booted up now
okay.
on both YouTube and Instagram. Do you want to start off? I ask every guest to just give just a like basically four answers to these questions here. So that would be who you are, what are you struggling with, what do you make content about, and what are you trying to do with your page.
Okay, cool. And am I going to see your face on this or am I?
Yeah, unfortunately, Avi, I tell this to every guest. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear now. Unfortunately I tell every guest that I won't be able to share my face on the Google Meet,
uh,
but you'll be able to see me on live, which is it's going to be an interesting experience for you because the live is a bit delayed. So
yeah. So I see you now. I see you on
yes,
the live.
yes. What's up,
Okay.
chat? What's up, Marcus? What's up, Tiago? Marcus, thank you for the call earlier. It was awesome, man. Definitely, I'll reach out to you via DM. Thanks for joining, Tiago. Yeah, so Avi, it might be a little bit weird for you because I'm talking to you now, but when you look at the live, I'm a little behind. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So maybe I actually. Okay. I'll look at the screen here while
whatever's
we're talking.
easiest for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out the right format. Chat, do you guys like this format, by the way? I figured you guys would want to see Avi and then my screen share of his page, right? So let me know what you guys think. But anyways, Avi, back to you.
Cool. Okay. So give me the questions one at a time.
Yeah, and by the way, am I pronouncing your name right when I say
Yeah,
it?
it's
Okay, fantastic.
obvious.
Okay, questions for you, just so you can give general context to the chat.
Mhm.
Who are you? What do you basically make content about? What are you struggling with, if anything, with your page? And what are you hoping to achieve with your page and ultimately with this call today?
Okay. Who I am, what I make content about. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a creative director. My background is in film. So I've been shooting commercials and basically making video content at all different levels and been a creative for my whole life. And I have worked with some of the bigger brands, HBO, Vogue, all
Oh,
of those
man, how
yeah,
cool.
at a level of like filming commercials for them. Not creative strategy as much, but I've been in those rooms, and then I have my own production company that I've been. Uh, Last year we did over six figures just from my Instagram, which is, if anybody's watching, I hope you understand. You do not need a big following is a major understatement.
Let me
You do not need a following. Like you do not need a big following. So
Avi,
yep,
let me pause you real quick and let me just share. I want to share this with the chat so everyone can. And if you can just repeat that one more time, because this is a great. I'm glad you emphasized this. This is
mm,
good. This is good to share with the chat. Um, Chat. This is Avi's follower count right now. And Avi, you want to just tell the chat how much did your business generate last year from Instagram?
yeah. So last year, as a direct result of my personal brand, as well as having a quality product, very important, we did over six figures between my
Beautiful,
production company and my freelance. And
beautiful.
it's not a problem, and you don't need a big following. It's very important to understand this. It's people are chasing the wrong things.
100%. Love that. Thank you for emphasizing that.
Sure.
I learned this lesson, and we'll get back to you in 1 second. I'll just brief tangent. I learned this lesson a couple years ago when I had a stint where I had started a media company for real estate agents. I was doing their photos and videos, and that's on another page, a lot of my content there. But we were in the same range. We were in that like six figure, kind of like 10K a month, 15K a month with a page with 300 followers. So 100%, that was one of the first eye opening moments for me, just because all the content was so geared towards one specific avatar. So love it, man. Love it, love it, love it. Back to you now, Avi. So you said who you are, what you do. What are we trying to achieve here on this call?
Okay. So I have directed and content strategized for other people
Okay.
and generated millions of views and built businesses and helped people get revenue in the door. But when I look at my own page, it's like there's not a disconnect because I am doing things strategically as well as just being myself, which is one of the core foundations of of my methodology. But I thought it would be super valuable to get your opinion because I see you're running a lot of experiments and you're doing it in the frame of the student, which is brilliant, and your work is brilliant. And I thought it would be really interesting to get your perspective on it as a complete outsider with minimal context. I also Another thing to maybe let the chat know is that I literally have not put my face on my Instagram until a few months ago. So not only can you succeed without having a lot of followers, but if you go to my feed, not to reels, if you go to my regular feed and you scroll down, I was mainly posting my cinematography and behind the scenes and things like that. But crucially, I was selling in the Instagram freaking stories, which so many people don't really understand how that works. The more CTAs, the less sales. As it turns out, I literally didn't do barely any CTAs last year. Call to action, no call to
Really?
actions of like, oh, work with me. No, what I did was I write personally, poetry, observations, whatever it is. It's really a personal brand. Like these people that follow me, they actually have a connection with me, and that's what builds the relationships. Anyways, there's more to it, but a part of it is that your in-person networking, that's your personal brand should amplify that. Like getting someone who already you just met them last week and now you're radio silence on your stories, that's not a good way to get the next sale. So I used my personal brand as well as the networking and reached out to people via DMs. And because they see that I'm active and I'm posting shit, it worked. And again, I have a quality product. This is very important. You're not going to get to six figures with no actual quality. Like I have built the skills and I spent years on that. But still, I will say that even when I had the quality product, I still struggled very much so before I understood kind of how to like use Instagram in this way. And by the way, that black and white text is that's like a very intimate story about my childhood. It has this like, the opening line is when the police were taking my dad. What is it? Yeah, when the police were removing my dad from the house. Like you have to understand the people that follow me, you don't need a big audience. The people that follow me really feel that connection. So that's what helped. But what I do want to, what I want your help with is that I'm ready to expand. And that's my struggle right now is like, it's hard for me to have a perspective on my own content. So I'd love to see you just, give your insights on it.
First off, man, super inspiring stuff. Definitely, as I'm looking at this, I'm like, man, I would love to learn from you on how to tell an unforgettable story. This is something that I tell the chat all the time. Something that I'm kind of working towards. It's a skill that I feel like in my early days I used to have a lot. I don't really tell the chat this much, but I actually started making, I guess, professional content on LinkedIn. So I used to write a lot of articles, blog articles, and interview people. But it's been so long that I've forgotten how to tell like a really good story for myself. So immediately I'm like, man, would love to learn some insights there. But this is awesome. So you said, okay, you're posting this like very cinematic type content, and you were using stories a lot, but you weren't doing call to actions. Similar, like when I use stories a lot of times, once or twice a week, I'll say like, hey, reply this keyword to join my lives. You took a different approach. You had the basically cinematography here. And then on the stories, what were you using the stories for? Just like showing who you met or what work you've done, or can you like share just a little bit of insight on that?
Yeah, so I'm actually making a video about this because I realized I need to be able to communicate it in a way that is very digestible.
Yeah.
But basically on my stories, there's like three categories of things I was doing. Number one is personal writing. Like, let's say I travel to do a project, I would kind of just write in my own language, just kind of tell the story of that project and kind of the emotions and things that I'm going through. The hard part with this, which is what I'm going to say at the end of the video, is that it's very hard to explain to someone, oh, here's how to get better as a writer. It's very hard to give you an exact blueprint, but David Perel, his YouTube channel is incredible. And I'm going to make a list of resources that I have a list of resources for my clients, but I need to start adding some more stuff about the writing. And yeah, so I would definitely study storytelling and writing. To me, it was I have to admit that it did come semi naturally because I like poetry, I like literature, but that is also acquired taste. People, you can acquire a taste to get a lot better with your writing. So
Hmm.
that's possible. That's one category. Another thing is behind the scenes. And when I say behind the scenes, I'm talking behind the fucking scenes. Like any workflow, anything that I'm building, anything that I'm working on. I even shared my process of how I plan on doing things, struggles. I did a lot of I even did a few days ago, like here's what I'm building. Do you like this color? Do you like this color? I just like, interact. I like people, so I like interacting with people, and that's the interesting thing. It's the stories are so powerful. People underestimate the stories. They're just making reels all day, but like nurturing that deeper level, I think the stories is an amazing place to do it.
I
So
love it.
that's the second was behind the scenes, and the third one was just posting work, man, just being top of mind, being consistent with that. Let me know if I'm rambling, by the way,
No, no,
but
no.
that's what I was doing.
I'm writing this down. So you
Okay, yes.
okay? So we have behind the scenes. We have showing the work. And remind me, the first one was it the storytelling that you're talking about? Storytelling.
Literally, this is the oldest format in the book, from the Bible to anything you want. Just write words on paper. That's
Got
it.
it.
It was literally
Got
like
it.
that black screen with words on it.
Chat. And by the way, Avi, feel free to direct me in any direction because I know I'm honing in right now on this story. You can call it framework or whatever. But I think this is super valuable for hopefully chat. Let me know, guys. I feel like stories is just not talked about enough. I notice in
Yeah.
for myself. Now, Avi's talking specifically about the story feature on Instagram, but also storytelling, like the principles of telling a good story. And so we talk a lot, especially on this page, about reels in general, but I've found similar to you, stories not being talked about, shared enough, or utilized enough by everyone here. And as Avi just said, and from the people that I admire and I've learned from, they've also shared similar success stories where, yeah, no, I mean, I was just posting regular content, but the stories were the rainmakers, And so, actually, one of the, I'll give like a brief context, but one of the first coaching programs that I have ever invested into with Tiago, I don't know if you were around for this time period, but that was one of the things that he was doing. He was doing like once a week. He was doing a specific type of story for a specific objective, and then similar to you, he had different pillars. And so I just find it really fascinating. That's why I wanted to write it down. So chat, first thing that Avi was doing in the stories, and again, the context here is with 2,000 followers, Avi was making well over six figures with his business. He was posting a lot on his Instagram stories. One of them was written text like this, so he can practice the principle of storytelling. One of them was behind the scenes work of what he's working on, and the other one was showing the process of him developing the work. Avi, I know I'm diving a little bit deep into this, but am I missing anything here with just the stories here?
No, 100%. I
Cool.
want to add that it's not bullshit. It has to come from you.
Of
I
course.
actually just a few minutes ago posted a video about that. That one, they all do this
Mm-hmm.
because if you think about Tony Robbins,
Mm-hmm.
right? When I think about Tony Robbins, whether I like him or not, and I definitely have my own, opinions about all three of these characters.
Sure.
Which I love Alex Hormozy and I appreciate Stephen Bartlett a lot. And Tony, I'm like, I have this, like split. Like on one hand, like is he legit or not? But one thing is for sure, he is unforgettable. You cannot forget that story of his dad pushing the guy
Right.
out.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know that story?
Of course. Of course.
So it's like stories is what people remember.
Yeah.
So is it going to be your most viral video? Well, on TikTok, yes. On TikTok, actually, my video about talking about being basically in $70,000 of debt and really struggling with my business and understanding like a spiritual principle of detachment, which allowed me to take a lot of action. That actually is my most viewed video, but on Instagram, it's not. It's a different topic. But one thing is for sure, whether it's going to be the most viewed or not, it's going to be something that people will remember a lot more than even what you teach them. and maybe this is good for you, Sean, because I actually would love to connect with you more on your story, you know, because
Yeah.
I love all the stuff where you're experimenting and
Yeah.
all that. But like when we got on this call and you told me, you know, I'm actually in my job, like, boom, that's fucking incredible. That's actually
Exactly.
really compelling because I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, this fucking talented guy who, I mean, you definitely are compressing. You're doing what people, it takes them so long to do in a very short amount of time by running so many experiments and being so consistent, which you just spoke about in your latest video. Um, you're super talented. The idea that you're in any sort of job is interesting. The only job you should be in is maybe working for me on my team. But other than that, I don't
Hey,
understand why you
listen,
should have any job.
listen. Hey, I chat. Hold on 1 second. I gotta switch gears for a second. Avi, listen. If you want to talk about me joining the team, I'm all yours. We can talk about it off stream. That's hilarious. But yeah, no. I was chat just for context too. I mean, this is a really good segue before we get into some of the potential value that I might be able to share here. I was telling Avi off stream, the purpose of this page. I wanted to document my journey to. I have a goal of mastering content. I have standards around what that goal means, and I wanted to use this page as a tool for me to land my dream job, as well as through the process inspiring other people on how to become students and share. This comes from deep rooted insecurity of mine, of never feeling like I am good enough. I have never felt like I am particularly exceptional at one specific skill. Content to me is a skill that I know everyone admires. And so selfishly, I have this journey that I'm on. Part of the reason why I'm doing this page is because I want to be the guy who's exceptional at a skill that everyone that I see around me desires to be good at. And so selfishly, that's part of, and that's why I make this page. I talk about I'm not an expert, why I'm a student trying things, is because it comes from deep-rooted insecurity that I think could make for a good story at the end of the book, at the end of the chapter when it's closed. And so, to your point, Avi, I think I have pretty good clarity on why I have this page, my story, my background. I tell you guys all the time on the live streams chat about all the failures that I've had. When it comes to content, man, it's just, I agree with you 100%. It's still something that I'm working on, and like telling that via reels, because sometimes I get so distracted on the strategy and not enough on the interpersonal connection, like you're describing. So
Yes.
I think what you're saying is totally valid feedback. And chat, these live streams, they go two ways. Although I ask you guys to join and I give you guys experiments to run, I tell you guys all the time, I'm not an expert. This is also a two-way street. When I meet people like Avi that inspire me, I also want to hear from an outside perspective what I could be doing better. And so Avi's point totally stands. These storytelling videos that I might make on my page, they might not get a lot of views. But one thing that I've learned is that I am able to, and this might be a good segue for you, Avi, for me to give you maybe some experiments to try or whatnot. I've learned that I can control a couple things. One, the amount of times I tell a specific story or concept, and by doing that, I can also control, to some extent, I won't say fully, how I am perceived. And this comes back to all the way around for you, Avi, when you're asking, like, I want to know. So basically, at the beginning of this call, you said, I want to know from your perspective what I could do to basically grow my page, with X, Y, and Z goals in mind. One thing that's helped me, chat, and feel free, again, I'm monologuing for a second, but let me cook. If there's any questions that chat has, or Avi, feel free to stop me. One thing that has helped me when working with Tiago, right-hand man, he's always in the chat, we studied a lot of the creators we admire. One in particular is Caleb Ralston. I'm sure, Avi, you know Caleb Ralston. Yeah. He talks a lot about, and maybe I can find it quickly here, chat. If not, I'll just describe it. But Caleb has this framework, which he's identified, or he's named himself, so people will remember it. But he has this, what's called a brand journey framework. I think he talks about it in his latest reel here. And basically one of the first questions he asks is, what do you want to be known for long term? And there was a time period in May where I had a video that blew up where I was talking about yapping. And it came from a place of, I had studied so much content and I knew that there were certain patterns that people weren't talking about, but I framed it in a way where I was coming across as another guru. I was basically telling people, like, you need to do it this way. A lot of people really liked the content, but a lot of people also thought I was just like another wannabe expert guy. And so Tiago and I did a real deep dive on Caleb. We watched all of his 6 hour course, and then all those others, and then some other people we admired. And we sat at a table and we figured out, I guess, a virtual table. Tiago and I spent so many hours on Google Meet trying to figure out, what do I want to be known for long term? And so I'm starting this segue here just for Avi because, and obviously for you, chat, because to Avi's original question of, I want to know from an outside perspective how I should grow the page. This is the best thing I ever did, was going through an exercise. And chat, if you guys want this, and Avi, I'm happy to give this to you as well. Tiago was gracious enough to put together all the trainings from all the people we admire, the free stuff, and we put it into, what is it, Tiago? Is it the brand direction book? Yeah. So we did this exercise on live stream too, which I don't expect anyone here to watch the whole live stream because it's so freaking long. But Tiago and I worked through every question. These are from Caleb and from Matt Gray and some other people. And we looked at my page and we sat and thought, okay, if I continue down this path where I make content that I know will get me, good engagement, I will be known for something completely opposite of what I want to be known for. And so before we even talk about growing a page, I'll scroll down just to give you guys some context. Before we even talk about growing a page, I think this is also something that is not talked about enough, in my opinion, is what happens after a video pops off. A lot of people want a video or multiple videos to pop off, to go viral, but nobody really talks about what happens when it does. Let me see if I think I might have scrolled past it. 1 second, chat. Right here. This video here, right? This is the video, when I made this video in May, I was at 600 followers. So 3 months ago. I could have easily, as soon as this happened, with everything that I've learned from strategy and tactics and whatnot. By the way, Avi, can you see this?
Yeah, I see.
Fantastic. The easiest thing that I could have done, what's up, Alpha? And actually, Alpha Sales, you probably remember this video. I remember you commenting on this. The easiest thing I could have done if I wanted super fast growth during this time was to just make as many iterations of this video as possible. To do this as a green screen, to do this as a carousel, to do this as a voiceover, a story, because it clearly worked. Like the last videos, got 1,000 views, and then this one gets 500,000. But the problem is that I did not want to be known for, one, I didn't want to be known for the yapping guy because I'm not an expert in yapping. That's Jesse Jean over there. And two, I also didn't want to be known for another quote unquote guru, because this video is very much like I'm giving directives to the camera. I'm telling people this is what you need to do in order to go viral. And I didn't like that framing. It felt icky to me. It wasn't aligned with what I wanted to long term. And so I chose a different path. Now, I know this is like an unsexy answer to maybe chat because I'm not giving like specific tactics or hacks, but this is the best thing I ever did with Tiago was sit down and purposely not recreate this video and instead think to myself, what do I want to be known for long term? And so I kept making some videos until eventually we started going through this exercise and I realized I want to be known for, as the guy who does experiments, which Avi just mentioned on this call, is a student and is very transparent about all this. Look, all these videos here are still in the wrong frame. Like this is Tiago and I working through this over time, trying to fix the messaging because I'm talking just tactics and strategy and I know what's working and blah, 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 blah. And then eventually we're like, you know what? Boom, let's experiment. This is the video where I immediately, like this is the kind of the birth of this Sean 2.0 rebrand, where now like Avi's talking to me about, I like what you're doing with the experiments. These experiments, brand direction, whatever, this was created June 15th. This is the first video I made. I told Tiago, I'm like, I don't care what happens with the page moving forward. I don't care if I get 0 reach. I don't care if, whatever, my page falls off, quote unquote. I had specific rules that I set for myself. I want every video moving forward to be in first person. I want to talk about things that I'm doing, things that I'm learning, mistakes that I'm making, and I want to be extremely clear to everyone that I'm not an expert. And so sorry guys, I know I'm going on a little bit of a tangent, and Avi, I'll pass the floor back to you because I know I'm monologuing. But the very first question when you asked me like what I should do to grow my page, I'm immediately thinking about the question I asked myself: what do you want to be known for long term? Because this is the best exercise that I ever went through. So let's pull up yours, Avi, and let's go through it. Chat, is this making sense? And Avi, am I misspelling
Okay,
this wrong?
cool. Yeah, no, that all makes sense. And I think also you did make the right decision.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Avi.
Yeah, so I think you did make the right decision. And it does feel like a lot of people want to say something as a definitive fact before they have the actual evidence in the tank and before they've actually tested things that's worked.
Right.
And I myself struggle with that as well, even though I have, I think a part of going back to what you said earlier of not feeling enough.
Yeah.
Oh, is not, which by the way, I literally wrote a script about that yesterday about, see, this is again, we're going to go into some of the challenge of with my content, which is that my interests and when they say like go niche, you're not the niche, you are
Of
the
course.
niche, like
Of course.
like in a way when I'm dealing with my clients, I'm kind of directing their content, so I kind of force them into a niche. But with myself, sometimes I'm like, and also no, but also with them, like I want things to be through their story, but I'm going through it myself as well because a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna want to talk about. Okay, I can't find that thing, but I wrote it down because I wrote it down analog. I wrote it on this paper. So the idea that you're not enough is not only like a spiritual block to your joy, but it's also blocking your creative, productive energy. The question is not if you're enough. Anyways, I have a better framing of how to say this, but the point is that that feeling of not enough might have you in 2 years from now being like, yeah, I'm still experiment and I'm not an expert when you actually are kind of an expert because you went through the experiments. So what I mean by that is at some point you're going to have to cross this valley and say, you know what? I'm done messing around. I actually have gotten my page to X amount of followers. We've got X amount of impressions. I think I do know a thing or two. And then you're going to start collecting your IP because Caleb's stuff and this stuff, and I can show you my stuff, and everybody has their own IP. But it's really your roadmap is going to come from you and nobody else but you. I don't think the chat could see this, but this is like the physical.
Hold on,
This is the physical of my roadmap. And I then have also the digital, the Miro boards and all that. One of the values of my business is radical simplicity. So I only have 2 workshops that I do with my clients, and then we get into experimenting. I have one topic workshop. That's the first one is a brand story workshop. We understand the story, the empathy, ICP, the pain points, all of that. And we get their positioning down, their offers. And then the second one is a topic workshop. That's all I do. That's all I do. And then we get an execution, and I have a system and it's a Google Doc with a bunch of tabs. We run the whole agency off that. So radical simplicity, very important. I'm going all over the place a little bit, but what I was saying about the not enough is that at some point we do have to own our things. Like I had a client a few days ago and I'm speaking to him on the phone and he's like, yeah, I closed a 5K gig. We only posted 4 videos for him.
Beautiful.
4 fucking videos, by the way. That's how little action you have to take sometimes in order to actually get a result. He's like, yeah, I closed a 5K gig because of that. He's a musician, right? They were good videos, and we did about 50K views over the last week. Six videos that we posted in the first 2 weeks, but he closed a 5K deal. That's something substantial. I should share that my clients are having those types of wins in such short amounts of time. That is a real thing. Another client got them like 1.6 million views, unlocked their bottleneck. They were stuck for like a year not posting because of all the internal things that they were struggling with, whatever. So sometimes you have to also own the breakthroughs. So okay, this again, the reversal, it's not the healthiest necessarily, but I'll just go for it. So something that could be interesting for you is to follow up and get testimonials from everybody that you do these lives with. You might already be doing that, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's something.
I'm doing that right now, but you're 100% right. I'm not. And sorry, chat. I've been slacking. I was pretty consistent with it for a little bit. I am collecting the the results, but I definitely need to be adding it to the highlights. I just have it in the gallery,
Ah,
just sitting here. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, and that's going to build. So you're building out your IP right now.
Yep.
You're building out your different frameworks that are yours and that will come to you in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, when you're at the beach, when you're reading, when you're middle at your job, and you'll write them down, and then you'll turn them into something that is workable as a workshop.
Yep.
And then at some point you are going to have to step out of this. I'm just experimenting, or whatever. It's a fine line, but then you can really start. And I think it's already happening. You posted that story of someone saying, hey, do you offer coaching? That's what happens when you bring value to people. The market starts telling you.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, hey, we want this. Like I had clients saying, I can't afford to work with you, but what do you have? And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't have a course. I don't have any. I like working with people one-on-one, but that's a limitation on my end. I should build something that is able to help them. So I have lead magnets, and again, I only do 2 workshops with every client, nothing else. So, I'm giving those away. I'm going to be giving those away soon. So I'm going to start, doing that. But okay. Anyway, so that's that.
Don't feel, by the way, like don't feel like, because I have this problem all day long with the chat. Like chat, thankfully you guys are pretty nice to me, but I go on these crazy tangents too. So don't think for a second that you're like going on too much of a tangent or you're talking too long. I mean, I literally had almost like a 3-hour live yesterday where I was just yapping. So
Wow.
so like don't, as you say all this stuff, like just know I'm taking notes. I'm really soaking in what you're saying, and don't feel for a second that you're whatever, boring me or whatever. Just want to let you know, because I see your face where you're like, all right, well, now that I said all that, let's get back to it. So
Yeah, because I do feel like I do feel there's
don't worry about it, bro.
yeah, there is some level of like, but yeah, the long form. The truth is that if someone hears one thing that I say, like if someone just heard what I fucking said, that my client posted 4 videos, which again was his name is Levi Robin, Levi Robin Music. Okay, you can just go see the videos that we posted for him. Again, using the personal brand to tap into your existing network. Every single one of you have people following, right? So if one person hears that, and yeah, I'm rambling, but if they take action because of that, and that leads them to a good result, and I would, it's always very fulfilling. I'm sure for you as well. Like
Of
when
course.
people message you and say, "Hey, this fucking worked. I tried this and I got a good result," then it's all worth it. So I'm not going to worry about rambling. But
Exactly.
but yeah, I mean, I guess maybe give me your take. If you're first time on my page, obviously
Yeah.
people are finding me through a piece of content where
Yeah.
I'm talking about something. But
Let's do
if
it.
yeah, I guess. Or what did you think before we even met?
Yep.
Like you looked at my page. What did you think?
Let's do it. Let's do it. First impressions, which I love this, by the way. I was just talking with Deuce yesterday on our live. Kind of similar in a way. I love that with how many people are in, I guess you could say, our space in terms of content strategy. I love that there is such a clear differentiator with you, because I can immediately tell. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're on the more of the creative side. I mean, your picture is literally you with the camera. You just talked about how your previous posts were all cinematic. So my first impressions is that you're going to be talking maybe more so to creative brands. I could be mistaken though. Is that typically like who you work with? Type of creators, those folks?
No, but I
Okay.
like that. I'm actually thinking of changing my profile
Yeah.
because it's just not my face, and this profile is from years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, I got over a lot of insecurities about my looks through posting content. And also, okay, this is for whoever's on this chat. I'm going to give you some gold right now. Take a photo of your face, upload it to ChatGPT. Please do it, okay? Upload it to ChatGPT and tell it, show me all the hairstyles that I can do. I did this, and if you go to my earliest videos, you can see I had this very like short on the sides here, like in that
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dude, this long hair, I mean, forget about it. It's been, I'm so much more confident. I've gotten so much
Yeah.
more attention from women. I mean, I don't know how to say this. People judge you based on your looks to a certain extent,
Of course.
and you judge yourself maybe and whatever. And sometimes you don't realize it's literally a matter of just changing your hairstyle or fashion. Also, like you can also see this reflected here. You see, I'm wearing a black shirt and black pants. And then look at my later videos. Like my friend did a whole fashion overhaul for me. Okay, again, I'm not saying I have the best fashion sense in the world, but
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
finding my style, and
Sure,
it's actually really giving me a lot more confidence, just
sure.
to be being real talk. So take a photo of your face, put it in ChatGPT, tell it, show me all the possible hairstyles, and then I might go long hair. I don't know. Anyways, but I like that. I like that. Creative businesses. Yeah, I enjoy most working with people who are having like a deep impact on the world. A lot of times it's going to be creative founders, like
That's
founder-led brands. That's really my
that's what I was
niche.
looking for. Yeah, creative
Yeah.
founders. Is that typically who you're working with right now? Like, does that make up the majority of your clientele? Founder-led brands slash creative founders.
I mean, you actually just, I mean, right now, just the value of this call and just that two words that you just said, it's insane. Creative founders is literally the mix. Because I've been like, okay, founder-led brands. I do work with a lot of artists and creatives,
Right.
but again, I'm talking about artists that do 100K a month that are at a certain level where also they can afford to work with me. And
Yeah, yeah.
but like also I've grown with people. By the way, something that for Chad, for everybody, there's guys that I started with. I grew up in Brooklyn, in actually in the Hasidic community,
Hmm.
the Jewish community. That I looked very different back then. But anyways, I started with some people out there in the beginning of my journey who have grown. So, dude, your friends around you, the people around you, have no idea what they're going to be up to. So, investing in that, investing in those people. I've worked with people who've grown to do incredible things to reach tens of millions of people all around the world, and with their brand, with their message, with their music. But yeah, I've worked really with a lot of creatives. That's actually a big part of the niche. So, creative founders, I fucking love that.
I mean, that's my first impression just because I'm seeing, piece of content like this, advice for creatives. I'm also
Yeah.
seeing, and this is where, like, going back to Caleb, I've definitely learned a lot from this guy because
Yes.
I can notice it on your page too when I'm just doing a first impression. Like, I'm immediately thinking you're speaking more to creatives because I'm seeing right here a camera in the background. I'm seeing more cinematic lighting and, maybe some potential color grading in some of the previous posts here. I'm seeing this like cinematic type style, and so just by like the visuals before I even look at it, and also just like when I'm talking to you, you have like a painting behind you right now, and then you
Yeah.
have paintings behind you right here, and also like the outfit. I don't know, chat. Let me know if this is a stereotype, but this outfit kind of to me screams more of like a creative outfit. I see a lot of art. I don't know if that makes sense, guys, but I see like a lot of people in fashion or film or arts that wear this type of attire. It's just I don't know. I mean, it's my first impressions just by like scrolling is that you make content for more creative people, which I like.
Yeah, if you refresh my page, I already updated it with the creative founders framing.
Sweet, man.
Yeah,
Cool.
I mean, I don't waste time. So, like,
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's the framing, and that's really what I want. Also, it's like creative founders. I love that.
Cool.
Okay,
Okay. Next
done.
thing, chat. All right, we'll try to go into some tactics now because I
Let's
know
go.
I don't know. I mean, someone leave me a comment. I see Concha's in here. Good to see you again, man. We have Avi in here. We have Tiago. Let me know, guys. Just leave a comment down below. Are you guys finding some value so far in this discussion? And yeah, let's go. Let's dive deep. Okay, so we've determined, Avi, that you work with creative founders. And remind me again, what do you want to be known for long term? Do you want to be the strategist for these creative people, like how you have in your bio? Like, I mean, you said to me when we first talked, you're like, I really like what you're doing with your experiments, which, I mean, that's like the biggest compliment I could receive because that was very handcrafted. So I'm curious, what do you want people like me to say to you when they first meet you?
Okay, really good question. I want to just go back for a second. So I have this note. This between like the challenge between strategy and am I going to be more kind of just like myself?
Yeah.
There's a guy named Justin Schumann. I don't know if you've
Oh
seen his
yeah,
content.
love him. He's very good. He's the guy
Okay.
that talks about being more human on content. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So Justin Schumann is very important to understand his content and consume it. I would say 60% Justin Schumann and 40% everyone else. That's
Okay.
my rule.
Okay.
What I mean by that is conceptually, and like my content is a little bit more aligned with him than it is maybe with. And by the way, Caleb Ralston
Yes.
is somewhere in the middle, actually, I
Yes.
think. But
Yes.
I lean, I lean storyteller, and I think it's really important to understand what Justin Schumann's teaching here, because what he's talking about is the most important thing for our current timeline right now because of AI, because of how annoying everybody is. And by the way, like Sean, let's be honest about it, in the personal brand space, everyone sounds the same,
Yeah, of
thinks the
course.
same, has the same fucking ideas. I'm just being honest, And again, I follow the Brian Cochran and whatever and everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
It all to me, and 60% of it, including some of my own videos. I'm not even excluding myself. I'm just saying so much of it is the same, the same, the same. So when you're asking, and now let's jump into what do I want to be known for? I want to be known as a content strategist, as a lethal content strategist that improves revenue, because I am an artist, and I have those. I was like telling this to this brand that I was speaking to in the end of the call. This founder, I told her, like, listen, all of the above and the storytelling and whatever, I just want to let you know my goal here, not to mince words, is to increase revenue. We're going to be split testing ads. We're going to be, we're going to be doing all this stuff. I just believe that the most here, this is it. My foundational idea is give your gift to the world. Like, I believe that the more you give to the world, the more you get. So foundationally, that's one of the strong values. What I want to be known for, I want to be known for radical simplicity. That's one of the values of my brand, radical simplicity. Experimentation, which I'm very in alignment with you on. I think experimentation is the most important thing in especially content, because if you're not willing to experiment, then you will never know what you're capable of in life and in content. I want to be known for a few different things. So that's where that's where I'm not going to say it's a struggle, but that's where sometimes I feel like my content, it has a few different pillars, which, you are the niche is also a real thing. So I have the pillar of like spirituality and mindset, which actually some of my mindset videos do really well. I have one on TikTok now that is definitely an outlier compared to my usual numbers.
Yep.
As well as here, some of my mindset videos and videos about the like deeper inner work that goes into being an entrepreneur, those actually resonate pretty deeply, and I get the most messages about those videos. I haven't done that much strategy. I feel like I'm too much on the mindset maybe, and I need to bring in more of the strategy and bring in more of what I'm doing with my clients and more of the kind of tactical, what you would see from Caleb or some other people that are more tactical.
Can can I
Okay. Yeah.
can I give you a few words just since
Yeah.
I gave you some words earlier, you seem to resonate with it, and I'm not. I mean, you don't have to like pretend to resonate with these, but what you're describing is very similar to conversations I've had with Tiago. I've thought about this at length. And chat, I also want to say before I even dive into this, what Avi mentioned to me as soon as he said it, I started like kind of beaming with excitement, and so hopefully this might be valuable to you. Avi said that in our space, everybody is making the exact same content. That to me, incredible observation. And so for you guys, if you guys are in a niche where you're seeing everyone else around you, this is why I like to study other creators. If everyone else around you is making the exact same type of content and looking the exact same, it makes it so much easier to stand out. Like when I look at everyone in my space and I see that everyone's making the same type of content, all I need to do is just be the one guy that says, I'm not an expert. I'm
Yeah.
figuring it out. And now you guys start to come to me and say, hey, I like that you're different. And so Avi, now here's some words maybe that hopefully might resonate with you. Tiago and I'll bring him up. I always bring him up because he's my right hand man. Him and I have been talking about this for a while, that there is obviously a push towards more the buzzword on the internet right now is authenticity, right? We see it with yapping, whatever, live streaming, of course, everything in between, storytelling. And there's an interesting debate that I see on all these different videos where everyone understands that to grow a page, there is strategy involved, but also people don't want to lose their human side, because at the end of the day, social media is designed to connect humans with humans. And so I'm going to give you 3 words. Let me know if this would resonate with you, but I think this would be a good way for you to stand out, is to be known as an authentic content strategist. And you can determine what that, what that means in terms of authentic. And maybe that's not the right word, but what I'm seeing that's lacking in our space right now is that we have 2 different sides of the coin. We have 2 people, or we have a handful of creators, which I will not disclose by name, but we have a handful of creators that say they speak very much on the authentic side of like, just post anything, just be, like just be yourself, of course. And I think all of that's great. Then you have another side of the spectrum in our niche that is very tactical. No. If you want to keep growing, then you need to follow X, Y, Z. And these people, especially like some of the creators that I see quite often, some of them are like very heavy on systemization, step-by-step process, tactics, systems, etc. There's not too many people that come to mind who shares a middle ground approach where you can research or follow a strategy while still remaining human. And so that was a direction at one point that I wanted to go with Tiago. I decided to not do that because I thought my current direction that I'm going is more aligned with me, my struggles, my inner, like just my heart, I guess. But what I would love to see from another creator, and again, I'm just telling you my what I'm yearning for. I'm not expecting you to say like, yeah, that totally resonates with me or whatever, but I'm just telling you like, I'm looking for creators who are able to blend both strategy and human. And one of the ways that I think you could do it really well is by how good you are at storytelling. Like I would love to learn more strategy around storytelling. Everyone understands that to tell good stories, we can build deeper connection with the audience. But I also can recognize that to tell a good story, there are certain ways to organize my thoughts. I mean, I've been sitting here on this live telling you guys my story and it's been almost an hour. Obviously that's not going to fly for a 60-second reel. So how can I condense my story into, and I'm sure you have step-by-steps. I mean, I even told you I'd like to connect with you offline just to learn more about how to share my story. Here I am sharing with you all my experiments and strategies, but when it comes to telling my story, I hit roadblocks. So finding a creator like you that maybe could use that as a pillar, explaining the strategies behind storytelling. I mean, we see like Jin Yu's currently doing that now, and I think it's pretty smart that he's capitalizing this challenge around the storytelling challenge, the strategies behind it. I'd love to see more of that besides just, one creator. But those are just my overall thoughts, opinions, beliefs. I'm curious, what are some of your takeaways or feedback just from me like talking out loud there?
Okay, so first of all, I hate the word authentic, and the word authentic strategic
Dude, I love it.
content sounds terrible.
Okay, hold on. Pause for 1 second, because you're the only person I've ever met who agrees with me on that. That I hate the word authentic. I just don't have another name for it right off the bat. I agree 100% with what you're saying.
Yeah, so authentic is a horrible. It's not a bad word. It's a bastardized word, right? So it was a good word.
I agree.
It's not a good word anymore.
Yes.
But what I really think you're zeroing in here on is the storytelling aspect. I think that storytelling, and the thing is that people don't understand how profitable it is. I think people have a bug, and they don't get. Like they don't understand the idea that being the most you and being the most raw in the way that you give your gift is actually the most profitable thing. It just doesn't register for some people. But I will tell you, I worked on an HBO show last year. I got that fucking job. I got that project to go direct a documentary series about a documentary as part of a movie series that also was included in. And then once I was there already, other opportunities came in. I got that because of my writing on my Instagram stories and because of sharing my process and sharing, basically just telling stories on my account. I don't have a big following. Probably, people that just scroll by my account, maybe they will think, why is this guy even talking about content? He has literally no followers, right? That's fine. The reality is that the opportunities,
of course,
will find you when you bring value and when you go deep. And I think that is something that is definitely majorly lacking. I will say that over the last 2 months, I'm now at like 100K monthly viewers, and this is starting from basically I took like a break. I was for months I wasn't posting. I was working on some internal stuff. I was finishing up stuff on the show, and I really have been only pivoted into content strategy and more of a strategic role in the last year. But these last 2 months, I started a 30-day challenge a month and a half ago. And okay, I lost my train of thought of where I was going with this. Oh, what I'm saying is that now I do have the intention of reaching a lot more people. In the beginning, I didn't. In the beginning, I actually didn't care. It wasn't really a concern for me to reach a lot of people because I had work and I was happy with it. And
Yeah.
I was also scared of putting myself out there, even though I always wanted to. And that's something also. I really only want to work with a client that is really not doesn't wants to build a business to make money. That's fine, but I want to work with people that have something deep, a gift that they want to give to the world.
Mm-hmm.
They have something they want to share with others that is valuable for other people. Because in my and again, this is something I could speak about and explain more. All the work that I do, the customer is framed as the hero of the journey, and I try to do that in my videos as well. Even when I'm talking about my own story,
Mm-hmm.
the customer and the person watching, he's the hero of the journey. And so I think there are good frameworks that I can bring regarding storytelling. Also from shooting, I've shot like over 40 documentary short films. I know how to ask a question that brings out people's,
Here's
a question. Yeah.
sorry. So no, keep going. I cut you off.
Yeah, so no, a question is a lot of the time better than a script because a question opens a person up whereas if you're like trying to write and follow this exact script. So in a lot of the content with my clients, I end up asking them, I ask a question and boom, that's where the gold, that's where the best copyright is. So I can definitely do more videos about that and definitely position myself more as the storyteller strategist as opposed to, the storyteller strategist and also the I'm still constantly like on this line, but
So let me,
I don't want to go into the scientist.
of course,
I think it's important, but I don't
of
want to go
course,
into the strategist only
of course.
frame. Definitely
So
not. Okay.
here's something else. And first off, I love that you said that you hated the word authentic because every time I write it down too, I always get the ick. I have a video talking about that too. Like I just don't like that word.
Terrible.
Um,
Yeah.
so love that. We're already bonding over that. But here's something else that Tiago and I have been talking about. This is kind of a long-term vision for our page at some point, and I'd love to see it just because you already have the catalog of experience doing this. I'd love to see this kind of play out in real time, maybe with you, depending on if it, of course, aligns with you or not. Going a level deeper, of course, like tactically, we're talking about having your page be about strategy of storytelling, whatever. Really, what I'm trying to get at, the heart of it, is when I think of Caleb Ralston, why do people like him so much? He talks about building trust instead of views because we see the big problem in our space is that people talk about optimizing views. Why do people like all the other creators? Well, because they give a step-by-step process on how to actually get more reach. And of course, that's a painful problem that everyone has is like, hey, my videos aren't reaching people. So I understand that pretty well. One thing going to this idea of strategy of storytelling and this like authentic or humanized content strategist, however you want to describe yourself, what I'm trying to get at is I'd love to see a creator that can teach me how to systematize trust because I do believe that it could be I believe that there is a strategy. I mean, I just told you guys in this live stream that I have been intentionally making each video and framing each video a certain way so that I'll be perceived a certain way. And then Avi hops on the live and says, I really like that you are talking about content experiments, blah, 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 even though a lot of my content experiments get very little views. So I believe that there is a step-by-step blueprint out there to quote unquote systematize trust that nobody's talking about. That would get you away as the counter position from talking about views and talking about these vanity metrics. You can also appeal to the creative founders who want to lean more into their human storytelling component, talk about themselves and blah, 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 blah. That's the heart of where I'm getting at. However you decide to word it, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But I think that could be a really interesting angle for you to take because I want to know, you mentioned the first things that you mentioned is that like, dude, I was making 6 figures with my business. I had probably even less than 2,800 followers. I was posting cinematic.
A lot less. Yeah.
I was posting cinematic content and then I was posting written content on my stories. Like when I see this like poetry or when I see your, where is it? The black and white story text or whatever. I'm like, dude, how did you first off, where do you get these ideas from? How did you make this video? How did you think about it? You don't have to answer all this. I'm just saying, like, these are the questions that I have. Like, and when I look at these videos that you have, some of these right here, like Picasso made 13,500 paintings. You were taught to perform. Like these, the world is a mirror. Procrastination. These ideas are just so creative and unique. I don't see it too often. This is something that I think also can be taught to a certain extent with more of a strategic, I guess, component of here's how I think about, or here's how I plan out these stories, or here's how I do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, because that's something that, as I'm sitting here on the other side of the table, I think I know. Well, let me take it back. I think I know more than the average person. That's what I'll say. I think I know more than the average person when it comes to increasing reach on a specific video. But at the end of the day, like, especially to your creative founders, like, reach is not the end goal. Like, the end goal is, well, we want to get, of course, sales. We also want to have content that resonates with us. We also want to make content that has us feel more creative instead of just like researching what's working, and data and all that stuff. Like, I think that there is a way to do that, and you're clearly an example. Like, whatever you've clearly been able to do it on your page, in terms of, hey, I posted a ton of unique content. I posted a lot of content about me, which, by the way, like, that's one of the number one questions I get on these live streams is everyone in the chat typically asks, how do I even have a couple of YouTube videos on this. How do I get people to buy into my story? I think I have a good idea of how to make content, but not content about me. And so, like, dude, I mean, I'm telling you, there's a huge gap in the market, if you will, for this type of step-by-step process to build out more trust.
Okay, really important.
Because I could see that a light bulb went off. So
no, really important, because I joined your live yesterday or something, and it was with a woman who had a really interesting story, and
Yes.
It took me a minute to understand what's going on, but she struggled with this medical thing. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, people, this is so important to understand. It's so simple. It could be a 30-second video, and I have to do this video, and I've been writing. Okay, so let me just write a few notes. So that you talked about coming up with ideas. Okay, coming up,
of course,
with original ideas.
Yep.
That are not, oh, here's the first 10 seconds of the hook of the strategy, and like, Jesus Christ, like,
yep.
Has that really, like, okay, so now you gave the person information. They may or may not trust you more because of that. If you ram enough information into people, then they will trust you. But it's also, okay, whatever. It's also a question of how much impact you want to have on people's lives, how much, like, how deep do you want to go with it, But, and that's a personal thing. Okay, content about me. How do I make content about me without, when you frame yourself as the hero of the story, then it lands more flat. If you can make content about yourself, it's fine. But the content about yourself should be framed in for example, one of my top performing videos, and again, I'm a month and a half into posting these types of videos, maybe 2 months. The first month was inconsistent, then I did 30 days straight. One of my you can call it outlier,
yep,
compared to others, is you were taught to perform. Okay, so this is in the 4K range. The thing is, like this, there's also quality of views. Okay, very important. View quality. This is something I think I can introduce in just a new way, but it's like, view quality is so fucking important. So when I say 4,000 people viewed this thing, when you're talking about a video that is 2 minutes long, or a minute and a half long, or I don't know how long this is, and it's a very personal, deep childhood story, and people watched through that and took the time to actually like it, that's very different than this other video that has, 10,000 views or 7,000 views, or I don't have any here. I have on TikTok, videos, but it's just like, it's the, 7-second B-roll. You're not building deep trust. Nobody's messaging you, hey, bro, I feel really seen because of this, from that. So, okay, so you were taught to perform. It's a story. I just share basically that when I was a kid, my parents are divorced. And when my dad would come pick me up to see me, he would open the window. He would leave the door locked, and he would open the window and he'd tell me to tuck in if I want to come into the car. And that was the first time I learned that if I want to be accepted, if I want to be loved, I have to perform for other people. I have to do what other people say, and I have to not listen to my voice and that. And I remember it was like when I was 11 or 12 years old, where I said no, and I just walked opposite direction and went back into the house that we were living in,
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't go with him. And that was the first time that I kind of like, and then I tied it into kind of content where I explained that like if you want to give your gift, you have to find your voice. You have to refine your voice and choose that over appeasing other people. I mostly make content about things that I'm going through emotionally, spiritually, and also observations that I'm having. Like I had an observation about Dave Portnoy gets minimum 1 million views on every one of his yaps. That's another video that I did. But okay, sorry, I'm going all over the place here. But that was more on the how to come up with ideas.
Well,
But the content about
yeah,
I'll just finish this. The content
yeah.
about you, the way to do that effectively is to frame it as motivation for the audience and frame it as a lesson. You're giving them a lesson, not, oh, I'm talking about myself and my day and I just went to Nobu and we ate this sashimi and whatever. It's like nobody gives a shit about your company that you're building or whatever. If you can help them, then that's the key. It's so simple.
Tiago, are you smiling in the chat? Because he mentions this pretty much every day, that the story is actually about the audience, not you.
Yeah.
But this is Avi, this is what I'm talking about though. Like, and you bring a good point, the quality of the viewer. Like, I'll take 4,000 people that watch my story over 40,000 people that watch me talk about who knows, God knows what. So
it'll convert better also, in my opinion. That's my experience.
Here's what I can see that the market is missing. And again, I'm just chat. I know I'm not giving like tactics, or we're giving like step-by-steps on how to make better content. The thing is, I'm talking with Avi here. Avi is a creative content strategist. And so by me showing, like talking to him and saying, hey, let's go look at your best performing outliers. Let's double down on those. Let's do this. Let's tweak this. Let's blah, 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 blah. Let's go find topics that are working, right? It's a totally different conversation because Avi's he's probably more skilled than I am when it comes to, actually, I know you are more skilled than I am when it comes to content strategy, as well as Avi's found something that I have not been able to figure out yet, which is how to blend creativity, strategy into one to grow the page. So Avi, I'm happy to dive a little bit more into the strategy, like step-by-step tactics, but I want to start and focus here about this storytelling video, because what I think the market as a whole is lacking when I talk to all these people on the lives. Everyone chat and let me know if you resonate with what I'm about to say, because everyone that has been on the chat or has talked to me has talked about this idea of storytelling. I think we all are in agreement that if we want to build more trust, build more connection with our audience, we need to tell better story, or we need to tell stories in general about ourselves, right? Like everyone understands that. But the one thing that we have yet to figure out, us as a collective, at least here in the chat, as well as I know everyone else in the market, is how do you tactically actually do that? And I know that there are steps to do that. Like I know that there is a way for, like, if I came to you and I was like, Avi, just like I told you, when we started talking on this live stream, I told you the mission of my page, the blah, 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 blah. If you were to say to me, like, or if someone were to say, just tell that as a story, it took me like 20 minutes to tell that story. And so Avi knows how to structure that story the right way, how to pull ideas from all of my lived experiences and make them a story, how to make the stories actually connect with the audience, how to, like, there's so many things that you could talk about regarding storytelling and building trust, especially because you have a background of just like connecting with people with written text. Like that is such an undervalued skill set, that this skill of copywriting, like to its truest form, literally black screen, white text, and you're able to form a connection with the audience. Like, you know stuff about that our chat here, as well as I know a lot of people elsewhere, would love to know, because when I look at the people that talk about storytelling, or when I look at the people that talk about, like Caleb Ralston, talk about building trust, all the comment sections are like, okay, well, how do I actually do that? How do I actually How do I actually build trust? How do I actually tell a story?
Okay.
I know I need to tell a story, but how do I actually do it? You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, dude,
Okay.
I think this could be a great direction. Just an opinion, but it could be a good direction for your content to go because it at least is going to fill my need, and I know if it fills my need, it's going to fill a lot of other people's. So, I don't know. Just a whatever it's called, food for thought. So,
Yeah. Okay. So there's so much there. Really, really good stuff, man. I'm taking notes, and it's interesting because I can like give you basically the what I would say in response to that is the content that I should be making.
exactly.
I sometimes don't realize how intuitive some of this stuff is from years of making documentaries and needing to think before we even got onto set. I already map out the story till the end. I actually engineer. This is what a lot of people don't understand about documentaries. They are not scripted necessarily, but we make a treatment before we shoot most documentaries that you're going to see on a streaming platform. There's a treatment with a pretty strong direction. Now, documentary, the whole gift of it is that you pivot with a direction, but a lot of those skills I haven't shared yet. And in the last week, I have been writing stuff about that, like what I've learned from shooting over 40 documentaries, like about how to ask a question. I think also we're living in a society where people don't ask each other really good questions, and that's a lot of the small talk and not building deep connection. A lot of guys don't know how to ask a girl a question. A lot of girls don't know how to ask a guy a question on a date. It's a very broad epidemic situation going on, and I'm not saying I'm here to save the world, but I think you're onto something with teaching the like foundations of storytelling, how to ask the right questions that open you up. I actually built the workshop, the topic workshop around this, and I'm going to be making content around this workshop that I've been doing with my clients, but I'm going to make it available to everybody. It's very simple. A lot of the frameworks around like content strategy are like, some of it I saw is AI and this and that. My stuff is it's questions that bring the story out of you. But what you're telling me here is just because it's intuitive to me, it doesn't mean it's intuitive to other people. Break it down even more. Like
I want to.
explain it. So I think I need to do that.
I'm convinced. In chat, here's the basic question that I'll ask you guys: do you guys want to know step by step how to tell a story about yourself that resonates with an audience? Just say yes or no in the chat. And I could, without even looking, I could probably guarantee that this chat's going to be flooded with people saying yes. Now, here's the thing. I personally believe that pretty much everything, and I think this is one of the appeals of Hermosi, why a lot of people really like him, is that he's able to operationalize words, right? And I think that's also true, especially with this. Like, you can operationalize storytelling. I 100% believe that. Same thing with, like, Caleb Ralston, where he talks about how to build trust. I think that there are layers deeper than that. Like, just saying, hey, if you talk about yourself, you're going to build a connection with your audience. Like, I get that. But I also want to talk about myself and reach new audiences. So anyways, not to hone in on this too much, but this is something that like I'm trying to learn more about. It's also something that I'm seeing that other creators are cashing in on. Like, they are making so much money from challenges and courses about storytelling, where I'm like, okay, this is also probably a clear direction of where the market is going. Once yapping is dried out and everyone realizes, oh, it was just a trend, I think the next place that people will go is storytelling. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But I would love to. That's what I'm missing. I don't have a creator where I can really learn every single day about how to tell a better story. Now, there was something I was gonna ask you about. Shoot, man. We said I want to be known. Experimentation, strategy around storytelling. I want to reach more people. How do I make more content about me? I lost it, man. I'm sorry. I had something.
All good.
I had something for you.
Well, why don't we do this? So, if you were to go right now, I'll prompt you and let's see if you can come up with something.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So.
And thank you.
Anybody?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Ask this question, then I'll give you what I was thinking about. Yes. Ask the question. I'll tell you.
Okay, I can do it after because I have it pulled up. Okay, go ahead.
One thing that I would love to know, and hopefully this is aligned with your question you were just about to ask. I knew I had something. Hopefully you were about to ask, like, okay, if you were in my position, how would you take what you're describing and tactfully do it? One thing that I would love to know, because you keep, like, you've mentioned a couple times that you've worked with HBO and all these different shows, and you were just saying that they do treatments. I would love to know behind the scenes how some of like the top shows craft stories that compel people. Here's what I mean. Okay. And this is also from what I've learned recently, that the topic is the most important thing above
Yes.
all else. Like, not, I know everyone talks about hooks and whatever, rehooks, hooks, scripting techniques and visual hooks and all that stuff. I've realized that, like, if I just talk about a topic that's in demand, people typically are going to engage with it more than my baseline views, regardless of whatever else comes after. I could literally speak garbage and it just happens. In your case, and this could also, again, help with maybe more reach or whatever, align with what you want to be known for. I'd love to know, for example, I'll pull up my boy Chris Chung. I love this guy, man. So good. He has this video.
I've never seen him. Okay, let me check it out.
He's way more on the strategy side. That's why I'm saying, like, this is good, a good reference, because what I'm about to show you has nothing to do with what I'm about to tell you. Right here. So he has this breakdown, and this is from whatever, I think Age of Attraction or something. And he's talking from the strategic side of things, of like how to do open loops with your content. And he explains how, like, the editing of this is designed to keep people wanting to watch longer. But what I would really like to know is the story behind it. How is the actual story being constructed from a TV show? He also has one that's maybe more aligned with your direction, which is this one right here. He talks about how the storytelling script is structured for the Odyssey, or at least how to frame it that way. I would love to see that on your page. It's like, I would love to see you break down basically how to tell the Odyssey as an appealing story. What Chris talks about in this one is, he says, if I were to describe the Odyssey to you and I said, Odysseus goes here, and then he goes here, and then he goes here, and then he goes here, you would find that boring. But if I told you that he goes here, but then something crazy happens over here, but then he finds out that something else happened over here, and then there's this huge conflict, now it's more appealing. And so this one, to me, like, as soon as I watched this video, I was like, damn, this is so good. Like, this is teaching me stuff about storytelling, and it's applying a topic that I'm already interested in. I just watched the Odyssey. And so, again, hopefully this aligned with the question you were going to ask me, but assuming you were going to ask me at some point, what, should I make my next videos about? I would love to see more in this direction. Take something that a lot of people are into as the topic, break down how they tell that story, and, like, actually the structure of it, and maybe explain the different components of it. I mean, dude, if you did that and you said, even if you had, like, comment keywords and gave out lead magnets that broke down this, like, the story structure, I would be foaming out the mouth for it, because I'm, like, dying to learn how to do this. This is the next tool in my tool belt, So, is that making sense? Am I going on?
Yes, so absolutely. Okay. Actually, while I was watching the Odyssey, I had to turn off my, like, analytical brain, because I was like,
they did something here.
I was seeing exactly what they were doing, even the way they were, even the script. I was like, man, that is so good. The level of open loops and all that was just off the charts.
That's what I want to know. I want to know exactly what you're thinking in your brain. That's what I want to see on content. Is this going to, what I'm describing just as, like, my suggestion, is it going to get you, millions of views? I mean, this video is a quote unquote low performer for him, but the value in this video alone, to me, like, bro, when I saw this video, I was like, man, whatever you're selling, I'm ready to buy it.
Yeah. Can you send that to me? Cause or actually don't send it to me. Don't send it to me. Never mind. But maybe send me his page in general. I'm not going to watch it. I don't need to watch it. But
love it.
But that's a good idea, because I had my own observations about the Odyssey, and I didn't even think of, again, to me, this stuff is so obvious, but I think I'm realizing from what you're saying, externalize the knowledge and break it down so people can actually write better, make better content, and resonate deeper with their audience with this style content that has worked really well for me. I also I was just going to say quickly too, and hold on to that thought, because I know you're about to cook. So just hold on to that. Chat, I just want to say briefly, this is why I said at the beginning, and I don't know if this is the right direction or not. That's why I give experiments. I'm just giving him, Avi, some suggestions. This is why the first thing I asked Avi is what he wants to be known for, because the suggestions I'm giving you, Avi, I feel like if you were to go down a route like this, where you talk about the in-depth structure of storytelling of popular topics, just at least as one pillar for reach,
my association with you would be this is the guy that breaks down storytelling, and then if I watch more content and it's more aligned with like storytelling or trust and stuff, I think that's probably the direction that you would want to go towards, since that aligns with the creative founders that you're trying to attract. That's why I'm bringing this suggestion up. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's a good format. I'm also very business focused. There's two sides of me. There's like the creative and there's the business. And I worked really hard. There's no get rich quick with me. I've worked so fucking hard, and I love sharing insights around that. Also, I love giving creators solid systems and things that help them make more money. So there's like a money side of it also that I do like. I don't shy away from. So I'm just thinking like, okay, I guess there's a split here. There's like the storytelling and telling your story, okay, and giving your gift to the world via your story, which is your most powerful asset. Then there is the more strategic, which I will also do. Like strategically, this is what I recommend,
Mm-hmm.
how you set up your everything from your content to your funnel to whatever it is. Like these are strategic notes. These videos are more about the kind of like developing topics around what's going on in business right now and AI. I speak a lot about AI, about the overuse of AI, the underuse of AI, how it could be used to completely destroy trust or to build whatever. And then there is, and then there's like, I guess that's the two. It's like the storytelling, strategic, and then there's the business and kind of like what it looks like to grow your personal brand. Because I have to give people a vision of that, so they understand what's possible for them and they go use the free tools and have as much success as they can. And then for those who can afford it, they'll be working with me. So, okay, stay storytelling topics. I think was a really good point to break down common topics and narratives. I have a few things I wrote recently that are in line with that. Oh, the question I was going to ask you is like this. So it's kind of good that you're echoing some of these things that I've been in the last 2 weeks I've been writing about, because it's showing me that there's, and it's also showing me that from an outside perception, that is the impression that you were getting. Actually, I wasn't as intentional with you as you. I've just really been being myself as it relates to my personal brand. I am somewhat, I'm intentional, but I really am following my interests. So, I mean, actually, I would recommend people do that, again, with the frame of helping other people. Okay, so right now, what stories or experiences do you have, Sean? And I'm talking about personal stories. I'm not talking about experiments or content. What stories or experiences do you have in your life that could be a valuable lesson for other people?
Man, so I feel like I have so many. That's why I created this page, because I'm like, I have failed so many times, and yet we only hear from the people who have climbed to the top of the mountain. And I feel like people like me who have failed so many times still have valuable lessons to share. I feel like that's a story in itself. I think I even made a video like that. I've failed in the past couple of years, 6 businesses, and because of that, I felt like I didn't have the right to post. I felt like I didn't have
Wow.
the right to post, because you only hear from people. Like, I wanted to be in this educational space. I also wanted to, I felt like I've been studying this for so long. I felt like I had stuff to share, but because I don't have like $100 million in my bank account, or because I haven't sold a business, or because I haven't, achieved some like weird financial arbitrary number, that I wasn't allowed to speak on it. So like my whole page, I feel like there's so many stories just within it, as itself. But yeah, man, I mean, if you have a specific direction of story that you want me to go,
I would
I
go,
could
yeah, I would
riff
even,
so many
first,
stories.
first of all, that's great. And I have like probably 10 failed businesses that I've done: Google AdWords, printing.
Yep.
I mean, just you name it. I have so many. But I would say you could even go to childhood, even childhood. Like, just paint a picture for me of of something that I don't see on your page. That's something that I would think about. Like, that's a prompt for you to like write down notable experiences. They could be difficult experiences, they could be just bizarre experiences. Maybe you traveled somewhere and something happened, and like something that has tension, something where there's high stakes. Like an example, I mean, I don't know, it could be, I think people don't have that boring lives. I think it's more about how they tell it. but it's sometimes hard to gauge because I've
Hold on, hold on. That was good. That one struck a chord with me. I just want to write that down, maybe for you to think about a little bit more.
okay.
That was good. People don't have boring lives. They just don't. I would love to see content on that, man. That's
Can
cool.
you yeah, please send that to me. That's really good.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But and I hate to do this, I'm now going to reverse that and say it's hard for me to gauge because I have lived in like 7 different countries, and I've been arrested for weapon smuggling in Ukraine, and I've been almost killed my friend in a motorcycle accident, and I've almost drowned, and I've had all these different fucking stories. But I'm guessing a lot of people have bizarre things that have happened to them
Yeah.
along the way that they maybe just don't know. Maybe we have to ask the right questions and bring it out. But can you think of one thing, maybe one just
Yeah.
bizarre story that has happened to you
Yeah,
in your life?
I was just about to share one actually.
Yeah.
Now this one, let me say, and this is why I would love a page that teaches me how to tell a story, because I'm going to tell you guys this story, and I don't know if it's going to be interesting or not.
Okay, here unfiltered. Here's no filter.
Yeah.
Then we'll structure it into a reel.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you guys like the really whatever the Yap style version of it, and I'm gonna try to pull up the post as I do it. So in 2019, chat, was it 2019? Yeah, 2019. I got a job working with a Microsoft startup. It was my first, I guess you could say, big boy job. And I was working at a grocery store, and so I got this job at a Microsoft startup. We were selling Microsoft Business Central, which is a product by Microsoft that goes for anywhere between $500,000 to over $1 million for print manufacturing businesses. So super, super complex, super boring, and super expensive. And this was my first time doing sales too. So I was like, holy shit, this is probably not the not the first sales job I should have gotten. But anyways, my team or whatever, the company that I joined, there was no training at all. It was just like, hey, I think you'll figure it out. Just watch YouTube videos and figure out how to sell. So they gave me pretty much a completely flexible schedule, fully remote, and they said, just watch, try to figure it out. So I read a ton of books about sales and watched a ton of YouTube videos. I went down a really crazy rabbit hole where I was like trying to work for a really well-known sales influencer for a little bit just so I can learn. And I took, I guess, what I had learned, and I started making cold calls to random print businesses as a 19-year-old kid with no sales experience. And I was making like $100 to $200 a day. It was just absolutely like, man, painful. I was getting rejection after rejection after rejection, even after watching and reading all these books. And I was getting better, at least with like the openings of the call, but I was never able really to get anything further because I'm pitching someone on $500,000 to $1 million software solutions as a random kid calling on a phone. So it was very difficult until one day, because during this time I also was growing a TikTok page. This is my first foray into social media. And I had grown that page in the comedy space, like 86,000 followers at the time. And I was like, wait a second, what if I just try to take my skill set of video creation? And what if I just send a video to someone who I'm trying to reach out to? And this particular experiment was, I sent this video to like a Fortune 1000 print company. Like they had like 100 employees. I think they were doing over 100 million a year in annual revenue. And as a print company, crazy. And anyways, I took my comedy skill set with TikTok and I made a skit video. It was about me playing basketball. Let me see if I can find the Facebook post. But it was me playing basketball. I'll just tell you guys a story, then I'll try to find the details after. But it was me playing basketball, and it was me doing like this training montage, kind of like Rocky, trying to get better at shooting my shots. And I thought it would be like a funny analogy of like how many times I'm shooting and trying to score like someone to talk to me. And also the guy that I sent this to he was a print operation guy, but by day, and he was a basketball coach by night. So I was like, maybe this will resonate with this guy. And sure enough, it did. He watched the video and he was like, this is hilarious and like really, really well personalized. Because this was on LinkedIn where everyone's used to just like AI slop.
Yep.
And so he took it to his company. They showed it on the projector to their entire company. These people were based in Canada, and they ended up reaching back to me via email, and they're like, "We loved your video so much, and we're actually in the market right now for these types of software solutions that we would like to fly you and your team out for you guys to spend 3 days at the warehouse and pitch us in person on your solution." And so I went from like this 19-year-old kid with like very little sales, literally no sales experience at all, to sending that basketball skit video to a printing company. That they ended up flying us out to Canada, and we ended up closing the biggest deal in the company's history. For
In which company's history?
the company I was working for.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it's sold a Microsoft product.
Yeah, yeah. It was a super expensive Microsoft product, and I
Wow.
sold the largest deal in the company that I was working for in their history. So I went from like literally just this random kid to that experience from a basketball skit that I had made. So pretty cool. That's maybe a story that I've been thinking about sharing at some point. I just don't know how to structure it.
Okay, first of all, fascinating story. That's wild story. That's is very memorable and interesting. Do you want some feedback?
Yeah, yeah, of course. 'Cause
Okay,
I don't
okay,
know. Literally, I just was speaking off the top of my head. I don't know how to structure it or anything.
okay, okay. So if you write it, if you write this story,
Hmm.
you'll see how much fat there is to trim because when you write something out, you're able to look at what's there. The key is like you want to trim the fat and keep the high stakes, right? There's no extra conversations in the Odyssey, right? There's no, hey, how was your day? Oh, my day was good. It's like, no, are we gonna die? Yeah, I think they're coming to try to kill us. Okay, so let's run away from them and get onto the boat. And then the next issue already begins, right? So, so let's say the hook is selling a $1 million Microsoft product. That's not a great hook, so do something maybe better. But like, um, yeah, I would think of something bizarre for the hook to like express the whole story summarized. But then I would iterate on that, like maybe write a basic one and then work on it over next week. Just like come back to it, see it, revise it again.
Yep.
Write the story down, just write the on-screen hook, then write a summary of the story, and then write a few bullet points. That's it. And then see how much you can trim from that. Like the TikTok page is cool, but that only takes up like 7 words. At the time, I started a TikTok page for fun. So you want to just, if you're going to do this in a reel, if you're going to do it in a longer form, I would still do this. I would still trim the fat. And maybe, you can also, another thing you can do. So number one feedback is trim the fat. So
Okay.
anything that's extra is actually taking away from the story. This is, Harry Dry, Copywriting Basics, he has a free masterclass on that. I'm guessing you might have heard of it. Do you know that masterclass, Harry Dry?
I don't. Mm-mm.
Ooh, okay. I don't know who's been gatekeeping this from you. It's free.
It's
This is
about
such,
storytelling.
bro, this is about copywriting, but it is
Oh, beautiful.
incredible for storytelling because it's the same thing. It's story. It's writing. Okay, this is with David Perel on the, okay, I'm sending this to you now. This is one of the first things I send pretty much every client as, there's 2 parts of it. One is we're building the strategy for them. And then the other one is they're also growing as a person, as a storyteller while we work with them, right? So I just sent it to you. Really, really, really good. Definitely check this out. This will make you a better storyteller for sure.
Oh, beautiful. All right.
Yes. And then by the way, after you see this, go watch any clip of Tony Robbins and your wheels will be turning. You'll be like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. Because Tony Robbins, even if you don't like him, you watch one of his videos and you're like, midway, you're just crying. You're like, why am I crying right now? Well, he does everything that David Perel and what's his name discuss. He's very visual. So yeah, I mean, maybe a little bit more visual. Like, give me a visual of what that office looks like. I think would be a little bit would be interesting, or like a visual of you, or a visual. Give me some sort of visual to attach myself to. But that's it. This is a really interesting story.
I
what is the lesson of this story? That could also be a
that's
hook.
so okay. I love that you asked
What's the
that because,
lesson?
and that's also why I'm like this would be so valuable to find a creator that talks about this because I just gave you guys a whole story, and I didn't even think about what the lesson is. So, and there's also another thing too. I didn't talk about the stakes. What I failed to mention, which is why this conversation is so helpful and content like this is so helpful. What I failed to mention is during this time I was full. What is the term? Commission only. So
Oh,
this deal did not close for 9 months. So I like there are huge stakes to this story that I totally forgot to mention because I literally drained my bank account for 9 months because I had no income. Um,
mm.
and this deal was my only hope. I literally was like,
Okay, wait, I'm just jumping in. Sorry, I'm just jumping in. Flo, just write this down. So, like, broke 19-year-old
yep.
selling a $1 million product. That might be a good hook. I don't know. Just
And
write it down.
but that again, chat, like this is why like this exercise and content like this to me at least would be super valuable, hopefully to you guys, because there are huge stakes to this. Like I said, I was totally broke. Um, I was commission only. It had been 9 months, and this was the only deal really in my pipeline. Like I mean, there were some other like small wins throughout the way, sure, but like that's basically it for the most part. And yeah, so like just imagining like okay, for 9 months, no income, literally hoping that this works through. If not, like I don't know. I guess I just had to find another job or whatever. But there's some serious stakes. Now the lesson that I learned from this is what taught me, and I still use this to the day whenever today, like whenever I am trying to connect with someone I really admire. Um, it taught me a lot about personalization, but
Mm.
a unique way to personalize a message. Like when I talk to, for example, I did this last month. There's a creator that I really admire that I wanted to connect with, and I sent him a close friends story. I just put myself and this creator on the close friends, and then I made a video. I was like, hey, so and so, I'm making a video, blah blah blah, blah, and I just talked about what I wanted. I wanted to connect with him and just talk to him, whatever, see if I can learn from him. I knew that he would respond because when someone tags you in close friends, you get a notification that one, you were tagged in a story, and then two, when he clicks on the story, it's the first thing I had was like at his name right on the story. So it's like, okay, I just knew that it was going to get his interest, even though this guy has millions of followers. He has thousands of DMs. I knew if I did this close friend story and I made it super personalized to him, and also by him checking out my page, he can see like I'm referencing stuff from my content that I applied from him. Like I knew it would work. And I learned that from this basketball video. It's like if I can personalize a message properly and use video of course, but if I could really really personalize, then I can get in front of or at least connect with people I really admire. That was the central takeaway. And that's again that still works today. Like a lot of the people that I really admire, I've been able to connect with one on one because of what I learned from that basketball video. So yeah.
Yeah, great story, great lesson. I would dive into also like struggles and those stories as a separate thing. But yeah, I think yeah, broke 19-year-old selling $1 million product is interesting. Selling $1 million Microsoft product is almost interesting. I mean, yeah, but
It's almost interesting.
no, what I mean, because I mean, like the broke 19-year-old
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
contrast of two things that don't belong together. Selling $1 million product, like the curiosity of that, and then, um,
See, but like
uh,
even what you're doing now, I'm like, dude, this could be a great reel. Like, sure, it's maybe more copywriting adjacent, but
yeah,
that stuff. Like, it's if you're talking about copywriting for just educational reels, I don't think that really resonates maybe as much with creative founders. But if you're talking about copywriting and storytelling, like I feel like that nails right on the money with these creative founders because I hear it all the time that I want to talk more about my
yeah,
story. So
yeah. Also, there's something about the writing. So a good storyteller is not. It's like you give the same story to two different people, and they will tell it. One will tell it in a way that has you on the edge of your seat. The other one will tell it in the most boring way. So there's a certain storytelling workshop. I only do it in person with people in the room. I learned this from someone else, and I kind of iterated on that workshop idea, but it's the bones and meat of it are the same. It's basically every person gets up in the chair and they tell a story from their life for 2 minutes. And it's like before that, we do a little bit of a like explainer on how to, where to look for the stories and all that. Okay. And you'll see that the better the storytelling, it's not even about the story, because you could say this same story and you can say, so I had this job when I was younger and I was working at this company selling stuff for Microsoft. Or you can say,
Yep.
and then this is the prompt. Okay, this is the story when this is the prompt that we do in the workshop. It's like, or no, is that the prompt? Yeah, this is the story when I X. So for me, one of the stories I said was the one with I was arrested for weapon smuggling in Ukraine. Now, I'm going to give you a little more insight. I'm not going to tell you the whole story right now, but it's very simple. It's like I was doing journalism. There were bullets in my suitcase. And I wasn't framed because I was the one who put the bullets in my suitcase. But the reason why I put them in my suitcase is because my friend was in basic training and he gave me bullets after his basic training to like make a necklace or a souvenir. I don't even know why the fuck he gave them to me. And I was living out of my suitcase that time, and he was serving the military, so he gave them to me. So I had them. But now I'm in Ukraine. But when I say I was arrested for weapon smuggling in Ukraine during the war, that's a lot more polarizing than, oh, I was in Ukraine and I was doing journalism and then
Yeah,
something
yeah,
happened, right?
yeah, of course.
So for your story, it's like, let's go more specific. It's like broke 19-year-old, or like, or whatever, like that is a framing that's very relatable and specific. And then selling $1 million product. I mean, I don't know what the ultimate number of how much the deal was, but I would even write that.
Yeah, yeah,
And then your verbal, how you're going to communicate is you're going to trim the fat, and you're going to think about, okay, what's the most compelling way to do this? But I would be really excited to see if you share that, that, or just in general, more story based, maybe even a little bit slower paced style stuff where it's like, oh, okay, this is, but again, that's another thing where you have to you have to want to do it and be willing to say, these might not get as many views. They may get a ton of views. You never know. You have to
yeah. Of
test,
course,
right?
of course.
That's what our whole, thesis about social media is in 2026 and in general in life, right? We can test. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting story. That's really, really cool. And I'm sure there's a lot more where that came from.
I love it, man.
So yeah, thanks so much. I have a full notebook of notes that
I
are
love it.
all over the place, but I probably could run this through Claude and just ask it to give me some bullet points as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I'll send over the transcript. One last thing that I wanted to leave you with is, I would
yeah.
love to see. You know who's really excellent at this? It's similar to like, I don't know if you've ever watched the YouTube channel Charisma on Command. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
I
Not in
would
a while, but I've seen those
I would
guys.
love to see, besides just movies and TV shows, like popular people too. Like Tom Holland, for example, is an
Mm.
expert. Whenever I watch his interviews, he always has like a really interesting story that I'm like, dude, how the hell do you do that? That's so cool. Like he makes
Yes.
he makes the simplest things into some elaborate story. It's really bizarre. Like if you watch any of his interviews, he does it every single time. And he has like this like I was just listening to him talk a couple days ago where I think maybe it's because his father was a comedian, but he was trying to tell a story about I guess working out at a gym or something, and he could have said like I was working out and it was really difficult, but he described like him and John Bernthal, I guess, were like on a treadmill, and then he kept increasing the pace, and he went from whatever 2 miles to 3 miles to 4 miles, but he kept like using the same structure of sentences. He would say, and then he went to 2 miles, and then 3 miles, and four. It was like it literally, like when I was listening to him talk, I'm like, this feels like a scripted piece of content. Like it's really good. So I'd love to understand how to break that down a little further. So
Yeah.
just me
Yeah.
personally.
No, that's a great note as well. And that gave me the idea of doing like Norm Macdonald, for example, one of the best storytellers. You know who Norm is?
I don't. No.
Oh no. Okay. So people who know Norm Macdonald, it's like anyone who is a fan is like a super, super, super fan. He's a comedian. He's brilliant. Um, Yeah, so I think Norm Macdonald breaking down his storytelling style. I'll look into Tom Holland. I haven't even watched any of his interviews actually, but I'll check it out. And there's definitely public people who are, are super good storytellers, and there's a lot to unpack there. I'm trying to think of other examples, but people who are just so good at telling stories. Yeah, but you know what? That's giving me something. It's like the same theme. It's the same, almost the same core pillars, but different approaches, which is, I think, if I really want to grow right now and take this global, that's going to be a part of it. Although what I'm doing now is working consistently, slowly getting better, but I think this could definitely be some good stuff to test and try out,
I would love it.
for sure.
I'd love to see it. Obviously, those topics we're talking about, popular people, especially actors and celebrities, much wider audience, of course,
Yeah.
that's into that. But that could be, you're almost like top of funnel content, and then you have maybe breakdowns or stories of people who more align with creative founders, like who do these people admire. That I'm sure you when you talk to your clients, they probably bring up certain people like I think Tom Nosk or something. I think that's his name. Maybe he's one person that a lot of creatives talk about. I don't know. I have a buddy who's like really into color grading, and he has some people that he really has like on his Mount Rushmore, I guess. And so he like
Mm,
every time I talk to him, he always geeks out about these guys. So I'm sure there's probably some people that these creative founders resonate with as well. So,
yeah,
anyways,
for sure. And you named it. It's top of funnel. That's kind of where the main work is for expanding. But
yeah,
yeah, this was really thought provoking, and appreciate you taking the time, man.
awesome, man. I appreciate it. A little bit of a longer stream, so I appreciate you with your patience. I know this was like almost like a 2 hour conversation, but I think it was great for both of us, man.
Yeah, this was awesome. Okay,
Awesome.
talk soon, brother.
All right, Avi. Bye.
All right. Yes.